What is up, fight fans? This is DJC Combat, and today I'm here to present to you my predictions for champions by the end of 2025. Now, every time I do these, I never do well. Like, I only get like two or three or four picks correct a year. Like, 2022 is my worst year. The only one I got right in 2022 is Valentina and Makachev. And then 2023, I think I only got three correct from Volk, Makachev to O'Malley, and then I botched the rest of them. But 2024, that's probably the best I've done in recent memory because I went 4-8, which I know isn't any better, but at least it's better than 2 or 3. I was right about Pantoja remaining the champion by the end of 2024. I called Marab getting that belt. I said Islam would stay champ by the end of the year, but anyone could have predicted that. And I called Ilia Topuria grabbing that title. So let's see how well I do in the year 2025. Hopefully better. As always, I'm going to start in order. And I'm going to start from the smallest weight class, end with the heaviest. So that means I'm starting with women's strawweight. Now, women's strawweight, my pick is going to be Tatiana Suarez. That was my pick for this year, and it didn't happen because Zhang Weili only fought once this year. Decided to take the rest of 2024 off after fighting in April. I couldn't have predicted that. If I'd known that Weili would stall out this fight against Suarez till early 25 after beating Yan Xiaonan in April, if I would have known they would have even gone straight to Yan Xiaonan and that would be your only fight in the year, I would have predicted Weili to be champ by the end of the year. But I did not expect Weili to not fight twice in 2024. And if she had, Tatiana was going to get that belt. She will get that belt. It's inevitable. I think she's the best in that weight class as long as she stays healthy, as long as she doesn't pull out of the Zhang Weili fight. I don't see her losing to Weili because I think she's a horrible matchup. Dominant wrestler. I think she's got an extreme wrestling advantage over Magnum Zhang Weili. Weili's only advantage is the striking. Weili is a very well-rounded mixed martial artist, but this is the one fight where she's only limited to using one facet of her game, which is the striking. But I don't think she's going to be able to stop the wrestling, and I think she's going to get finished by Tatiana Suarez on February 8th, 2025. Probably a submission loss, or maybe she'll lose a dominant decision. But regardless, Tatiana's coming. This is the second time I'm predicting it, and this time I think it's going to hit. Okay, now, moving on to women's flyweight. Kind of tricky, but I'm just going to say that Valentina Shevchenko keeps the belt. I want her to lose the belt. I think it sucks that she became a two-time champion, not even just off the fact that she beat my girl Grasso. It's just that she's been champion for so long, man. Like, she just needs to go. She's 36 years old. Her last fight against Grasso, yes, it was dominant. Yes, it was impressive, but extremely boring fight, to be honest. She could have won that fight on the feet based off how the first round was starting, but she chose to be a boring grappler and crotch sniffer for 25 minutes. I know I sound like a casual. I do like to watch grappling, but in this case, I didn't. I hope we see a new champion. I hope Manon Fiorot beats her. I hope they sign Dakota next year and Dakota beats her ass. I hope Natalia Silva beats her. Whoever Val fights next, I hope beats her. But sadly, realistically, I don't think that's happening. I think we're stuck with Valentina Shevchenko, and word on the streets, I heard she's not coming back till August. And if that's true, she'll only fight once this year, and I think she's going to win her one fight this year and then take the rest of 2025 off, come back early 2026. Therefore, I think she's closing out the year as champion. I think she'll beat Manon Fiorot by decision fairly comfortably, somewhat competitive, but I think Val's just better than her. And I think she's still the best in that weight class, in this weight class, and she proved it in that last fight against Alexa Grasso. All right, now moving on to women's bantamweight. Of course, everyone knows Kayla Harrison is going to dominate Juliana Pena. and get that belt. I don't want it to happen. I hope Juliana Pena wins. I missed my chance last year to predict this year to predict that Pena will be champ by the end of the year. I should have picked her. My dumbass went with Aldana because I thought she'd be active this year and I thought maybe she would fight for the title this year again, but nope. She takes 9 months to come back after the Carol Rosa fight, loses to Dumont. Pennington gets the vacant belt, loses it to Juliana Pena. But now I think Pena's losing the belt to Kayla. Kayla's too big. She's too strong. She's got that man strength. She's got that dominant wrestling style that I don't think Pena's going to be able to deal with. And I think she's going to 50-45 Juliana Pena to win the title. I don't think she's finishing Pena. I think Pena will show her toughness, her ability to survive on the ground. But I feel like it's going to be another Amanda Nunes 2 type of fight. Except I don't think Pena is going to take that level of brain damage that Nunes dished out to her because Kayla doesn't got Nunes' striking or power. It's just going to be 5 rounds of Pena getting taken down and controlled and just not being able to do anything about it. And after that, I really don't see who's going to be able to beat Kayla in this division. The only one who can beat Kayla is Nunes if she comes out of retirement, or the scales, because Kayla has to cut a lot of weight. But other than that, yeah, I don't think anyone's beating Kayla Harrison, so she's going to get that belt. And then men's flyweight, this one's really tricky because I'm tempted to pick a new champion. I should change slides right about now, but I don't want to reveal who I'm picking. But I'm just going to have to go with Pantoja again. I'm tempted to go with someone else. I have a feeling that he's going to lose in 2025. And I think it's either going to be to Manal Kape, who looked good this past weekend, or Kai Kara France. But I don't know. Pantoja's just too good. He's too good. He's shown to be on another level in the flyweight division. He's already cleaned out this entire weight class. He's entering that dominant champion stage of his reign. And even though my gut can tell me he's going to lose his next fight, and he's turning 35, and that 35 curse, it is a factor. He's not getting any younger, and no 35-year-old has ever won a title fight in weight classes lightweight, featherweight, and bantamweight and flyweight in the men's divisions. I'm going to say Pantoja is going to break the curse, but why I feel like he might lose is because usually when we get these champions who fans start to call unstoppable and they're on their third defense and no one sees them losing for a long time and they start getting compared to like the GOATs who came before them, is usually when they end up losing. Now people are going to start comparing Pantoja to Mighty Mouse. And they're going to deem him as a lock against whoever his next defense is going to be. That's going to be a sure enough way to jinx Pantoja. And then he's going to end up losing to Manal Kape or Kai Kara France. Or I actually think they're going to do Kai Kara France versus Manal Kape. Winner of that will fight Pantoja. But the reason why I'm going to go with Pantoja here, it's hard to bet against him. And I know Kape kind of has a good style to beat him. The problem is Pantoja didn't wrestle enough in that first fight. I think he's going to wrestle more in the second fight. And we've seen Makayev control Kape with the wrestling. And we've also seen Felipe Dos Santos rock Manal Kape, make him uncomfortable in a firefight. And we know Pantoja hits like a truck. He's got power. Very effective brawler. And I think he can out-grapple Manal Kape. And I think he can hurt him on the feet and probably win a more clear decision than what he won 3 years ago. And then Kai Kara France, he'll probably just do what Amir Albazi did in June 23, but worse. So it's going to be hard to go against Pantoja. I don't have the confidence to go against Pantoja. I feel like this is going to be the year he loses, 2025. I feel like this is going to be the year his reign ends. But I fear if I say it happens, it won't happen. So I'm going to reverse jinx, say Pantoja stays the champion, and then watch him lose the belt. But now moving on to bantamweight, I'm going to go with Umar Nurmagomedov to get that belt. I think he's going to humble Merab Dvalishvili. I think he's a horrible style matchup for Merab Dvalishvili. He's got the wrestling to match Merab, and I think he's a better striker than Merab Dvalishvili. I think he's got a power advantage too. All around, I feel like he's the better fighter. I can't unsee him winning. I feel like he's the chosen one to end Merab's win streak. I think Merab is going to be one of the shortest title reigns in UFC history, like Sean Strickland, like Carla Esparza, like Jessica Andrade. And usually, Dagestani men are always the chosen one to get the job done. And plus, he's got Nurmagomedov in his last name, and he's got Khabib as his coach. Yeah, he's definitely not losing. He's definitely grabbing that belt. And after he beats Merab Dvalishvili, who's going to stop him? Not Sean O'Malley. Peter Yan might have a good chance, but then even then, actually, that's going to be a close fight, Peter Yan and Umar, but if it's Sean, he dominates him. If it's Peter Yan, I still think he might beat Peter Yan, but it'll be a close war. But I ultimately see Umar closing out the year, Umnar, as the bantamweight champion, end of 2025. Now, for the featherweight division, this one's tricky because Ilia Topuria says that he's done at featherweight. He's going to vacate the title and go to lightweight and fight Charles, but then he just recently contradicted himself, saying he's not going to go to the featherweight division, or he's not going to leave the featherweight division and go to lightweight, or that he's not going to vacate. I think he'll move up to lightweight, but he's saying he's not going to vacate and he'll continue to dominate. So I'm just going to safely assume that Ilia Topuria is not going to leave the weight class. And if he doesn't leave the weight class, I don't think anyone at featherweight's beating him. We just saw him starch Max Blessed Holloway in October. That was like the final boss fight for Ilia Topuria. Max, in my opinion, was supposed to be the guy to beat Ilia. If anyone at featherweight was beating him, if anyone was his toughest style matchup, it was Max. And he passed that test with flying colors, and he knocked out the guy who's never been knocked out before. So because of that, I can't see anyone else taking the belt from him. Max had the best chance. It was him or no one. It's not going to be Volkanovski. Volk's too old, chinny. If he fights Volk again, he'll beat Volk again. If he fights Evloev, I think Evloev will actually give him a tough fight. But even then, Evloev isn't going to beat him. I don't think that he's going to lose to Diego Lopez, although Diego has a chance. I don't think it's going to happen. So I do think that Ilia is going to stay for maybe one more featherweight fight. And I think he's probably going to go to lightweight and fight Islam. And he'll keep the featherweight belt like Volk did. So win or lose, I think he's holding on to the featherweight title after defending it one more time in 2025. And he'll end the year as the featherweight champion. But then something else could also happen. Arman Tsarukyan could also beat Islam. They could do an immediate rematch. And then Ilia will have to stay in featherweight even longer while waiting for the winner of Arman Islam 3 to, clear up. But yeah, I'm just going to go with Ilia. I was thinking of maybe picking someone else to be champion, assuming Ilia leaves, but I just can't think of who else would be champion in his absence. I could say Volk, but he's 36 years old. He's not getting any younger. I don't think he's going to be champion again. Although he could, I can't confidently predict he will. I want to say Evloev, but then does he really beat Volkanovski if they fight? That's the thing. I can maybe say Diego Lopez. I think he would starch Volk. But does Diego beat Evloev if they rematch? That's what makes it challenging to predict. So I'm just going to say Ilia keeps that belt. Lightweight, Islam Makhachev keeps the belt. I think he's beating Arman Tsarukyan again. And then I'm going to predict that Ilia is going to move up and fight him. And then he's going to beat Ilia Topuria. Although, maybe he'll actually fight Charles Oliveira again, actually. I don't know. I don't know what the UFC is going to do, but I feel like if the UFC had a choice between going for Oliveira getting a rematch or Ilya Topuria getting a chance at double champ status. I feel like they would go with Ilya, which is like the bigger fight, but it doesn't matter who he fights after he beats Arman in January. He's going to close out the year as the champion unless he retires and the belt's vacant. Welterweight, I'm still a believer in Shavkat Rakhmonov. I know so many people are denying him after he had a tough fight with Ian Machado Gary. Now everyone's calling him overrated. Everyone's saying that Bilal Muhammad beats him. Shavkat was my pick for this year, but I couldn't have predicted that Bilal Muhammad wasn't going to fight again by the end of the year. I didn't even predict Bilal was going to beat Leon. I thought Leon was going to beat Bilal again and then fight Shavkat in like November, December, and then lose to Shavkat. And I mean, I'm not trying to put blame on Muhammad. I know Muhammad was trying to fight again by the end of the year, but unfortunately, he got a toe infection. I mean, I guess that's what you get when you're training with these Dagestanis who don't believe in hygiene, which is why they always get staph infection. That's probably why Bilal got a toe infection, but I believe if Bilal didn't pull out of UFC 310, I think Shavkat Rakhmonov was going to beat him for the belt. I just feel like Rakhmonov becoming champion is inevitable. I feel like he's destined to become the champion. He's from the Caucasus region, and fighters from that region are just to not be denied. And fighters with an OEV at the end of their name or an AEV, their success rate when it comes to title fights are pretty high. So I think Rakhmonov wins. I think he's going to have a better performance than what he had in the Ian Gary fight. And people also got to consider, man, Ian Gary, styles make fights. It's hard to look good against Ian Machado Gary. He's very good at shutting down your offense and making you not look as good as you really are. Whereas Bilal Muhammad, different style, more aggressive, more pressure heavy. I feel like that's going to play into Rakhmonov's style, and I think Rakhmonov is going to be the one to end Bilal, remember the name, Muhammad's win streak and take that title. And he's going to hold the belt by the end of 2025 because after he beats Bilal Muhammad, whoever he fights next, I think he'll keep the belt. Whether it's the winner of Usman JDM, which is rumored to happen, whether it's Sean Brady, Ian Gary again, I think Shavkat's going to stay undefeated for a while. Anyway, now moving on to the middleweight division. This is like the second time I'm predicting Khamzat Chimaev to be champion by the end of a year. I'm sick of this guy because he keeps letting me down. He keeps pulling out of fights. He keeps fighting only once a year. I'm pretty sure I said this guy would be champion not by the end of 2023, but by the end of 2024. I said this guy would be champion this year. He's supposed to fight Whitaker in June, delays it till October, so of course he can't fight for the belt the end of this year. But also when Dricus du Plessis came back to defend his belt, it was in August. And usually when champions defend in August, they don't come back in December, November. They usually wait till like early next year. So I just hope that Khamzat can keep it together and stay active. No more fighting once a year every October. It's time to fight every 4 to 6 months. And if Khamzat can stay on an active schedule, then I think Khamzat Chimaev will get the middleweight title. He will defeat the winner of Sean Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis 2. And if Sean Strickland wins the rematch, even better. Because I think Sean is an even easier fight for Khamzat than Dricus du Plessis. If Dricus wins, I still think Khamzat's going to dominate him with his grappling and do his thing and probably finish Dricus. But that fight's more risky because DDP can also grapple. DDP is also very tough, and DDP's got that power as well. He's dangerous in the late rounds. We know Khamzat can kind of fade as the fight goes on. But I think Khamzat's inevitable. And if he stays healthy, if he stays active, I don't think any middleweight on the roster is stopping that man. And he will be middleweight champion finally. He'll finally fulfill his destiny by the end of 2K25. Now, light heavyweight, I'm going with Alex Pereira. I was tempted to go with Magomed Ankalaev. That was actually my 2023 pick, but Magomed let me down by fighting once in 2023 and literally waiting till the end of 2023 to fight again. If Magomed Ankalaev could have maybe fought in like spring 2023, he could have earned himself a title shot for late 2023 and been champion, but yeah, I don't know. You just can't bet against Peloton, man. He just looks unstoppable. He keeps running through the toughest guys they put in front of him. Beat Yuri twice. Beat Jamal Hill in the first round. Made it look easy. And actually, Jamal Hill was my champ by the end of 2024 prediction, which honestly, looking back, what a regretful pick. I should have went for Peloton. I feel like Alex was the most obvious pick for this year. For next year, I mean, Ankh isn't a guaranteed win, but I think the fight's going to happen. And I'm just going to say that Alex Pereira is going to get it done. And I'm not going to pick against Alex Pereira ever until he loses. And then maybe he'll rematch the guy that beat him. And then I'll pick the guy that beat him in the rematch. But for right now, I can't go against Peloton. He's too good. His striking's too good. Ankalaev doesn't wrestle enough anyway in his fights. It didn't look the greatest against Alexander Rakic, so I reckon Pereira is probably going to get the job done. He'll probably destroy the legs of Ankalaev, and he'll probably chin him with the left hook. I mean, Thiago Santos dropped him in 2022. Washed up Thiago dropped him with a left hook. Imagine Alex Pereira. He's not coming back from that, so I'm going to say Alex Pereira keeps that belt, and if he gets past Magomed Ankalaev, then I don't think anyone else is going to take that belt from him. And we'll probably have to start talking about Alex moving up to the heavyweight division. Now, speaking of heavyweight, this was another tough decision because of John Jones. Because I think John Jones beats Tom Aspinall, but he doesn't want to fight him. But if John Jones does fight him and wins, John's going to retire soon. So is John going to be champ by the end of the year if he beats Tom? I mean, he will hold out and fight Alex Pereira, but Alex has to beat Ankh, which isn't guaranteed. But even if John does fight twice in 2025, he could leave the title vacant in December if he beats Tom and Alex back-to-back. So I know Dana says the fight's a done deal, the fight's going to happen, but we can never take Dana's words seriously. Dana White, whatever he says, usually the opposite happens, so I'm taking his words for a grain of salt. I'm just going to assume that John Jones vacates the belt, retires, doesn't fight Tom Aspinall, and Tom Aspinall becomes the undisputed heavyweight champion. He gets promoted to undisputed through John Jones not fighting him, and whoever Tom fights next to defend his belt, I don't see beating him. I don't think Gon's going to win the... No, I was going to say rematch. They never fought before. I don't think Gon's going to win if they fight, especially after seeing that bad performance against Volkov not happening. I don't think Gelton Almeida's beating him. I think Tom Aspinall is the best heavyweight in the division as of right now. And he smokes anyone not named John Jones. So, yeah, I think he'll end the year as champion if John Jones doesn't fight him. But that's it for my champs by the end of 2025 predictions. Let me know your predictions in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, and peace out.